Hello there, this is Alex from Who Target Podcast, and today I think we need to discuss 20 years of new Doctor Who. How has it been 20 years? Where did that time go? Completely different life. My dad was alive 20 years ago, and we used to watch it together, so it's been emotional for me a bit, to be honest. Who has always been a part of my life, and I'm so glad we're through 20 years, though it's a bit more of an interesting state at the moment. We don't know where it's all going to go, basically, but I think it's in good hands. So that first episode there, Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper, what a combination, not knowing if it was going to work or not work. Billie Piper was thus known as a singer, not an actress, even though she'd done that great Canterbury Tales, which is a good idea. I think they put it on about I think they had that on in sort of February, January of that year, and then you had the first episode of Doctor Who. I think it went out the Easter weekend of 2005, basically. So you had a bit of time between seeing her act really well in the Canterbury Tales and thinking, because there've been all the press about her being the new assistant in Doctor Who, or companion, whatever we call it, or fan. So many different names for them these days. And we just didn't know if it was going to work. We really hoped it would, because we had all the fan stuff over years in the sort of wilderness time period, and we just wondered, was it going to work? And then we had that first shot, when she's in the basement and she's in the mannequins, and we know it's going to be the Autons, and then Chris Chibnall's Doctor, that sort of leather jacket, sort of cool northerner look, sort of gets her out of there. And I just knew from that scene, I thought, yeah, this is in good hands, this is going to be great. And plus it was all the people who had written for Virgin adult Doctor Who New Adventures books, basically. People like Russell T Davies and Mark Gatiss. I think once we got to that Charles Dickens episode where Mark Gatiss wrote beautifully stuff about Charles Dickens and the snow and everything, we just knew this was going to be an absolute awesome series, and it just went on and on from there. But of course, there was all the stuff behind the scenes we didn't really know about. We knew Chris Eccleston was leaving. It's like, what episode? I think it even happened before the build-up to the first season started. We had, Chris Eccleston's leaving. What happened? Why was he leaving before we even saw an episode, basically? And then, we sort of had that feeling in our hearts that the BBC doesn't really like Doctor Who, but now it's a brand for them. It's a merchandise. It's a, an actual thing that makes them money now, which is, things have changed. It used to be an unloved sort of product what nobody wanted back in 2005. Now in 2025, everybody loves it. Everybody wants it. It's the main part of Saturday TV, which is interesting. And it did change. We had all these changes behind the scene. We had, Matt, had David Tennant having to come in. And as we know now from the interviews that have been going around this last couple of weeks, David Tennant was basically, asked if he wanted to do it. He said, yeah, but he thought in his head, is this going to work? Am I just going to be that regeneration at the end of the season? When he mentions about the dogs in Barcelona, and that's all. That's then the start of Christmas episodes. We now have that every Christmas, and hope it will continue. We don't know, unfortunately. And those were just great. And then, we got from David stayed in. All David's episodes are brilliant, in my opinion. And I don't think there's a bad episode in the David Tennant period. They're all great, in my personal opinion. And then we moved to the quirky, sort of more bouncy, younger Matt Smith, and he just got the role perfect. Though I have to say that when he started, I was not a fan. It took me about a season going to conventions at the time to get the whole fact that he was amalgamating in his performance, all the other doctors that come before him, and he got it so right. Once I got that into my head, I loved it. Didn't really want him to go, but you have to get used to that Doctor Who. Everybody goes eventually. Peter Capaldi, brilliant, but underused. More to do with ratings and politics, I think. The ratings were going downhill by then, unfortunately. Jodie Whittaker time period, great. I think she was brilliant, but the writing was terrible, directing was terrible from Chris Chibnall. I'm gonna have to say that. Cannot wait for Big Finish' take on her and Mandy. That's coming this year. That'll be amazing, I reckon. And bang up to date with Shooty. So that's basically 20 years in a nutshell, basically. And they've been 20 years, lots of change. I've moved from London. I've been here, everywhere, and Doctor Who has always been there. It's always the thing I go back to when I want a bit of comfort, basically. I watch the old episodes now on the iPlayer, and I've got the box sets. So these 20 years have been amazing, and I longly hope that it continues, basically. But we never know these days. Things can change. It's all a money market, basically. And what will happen if the mouse drops out? That's the whole feeling that season 3 is not going to get announced. But you then look at big things like Severance on Apple, and that didn't get announced season 3 to season 2 was basically aired the day after. They put a tweet up, from Tim Cook saying season 3 has been greenlit. So you never know. I think season 3 will come, but who knows? I don't think it'll be under the mouse. That's my opinion. But these 20 years have been amazing. Doctor Who is back where it should be. So let me know your thoughts and comments in the comments. Like if you're not already liking. And next podcast to come on the Daredevil, because I've watched episode of Daredevil yesterday of the new series, and I will give you my thoughts soon. So keep liking, keep subscribing. Give me the love, babies.